What's up, Kansas City? It's your boy Joe Cornejo, back on the other side of your computer screen. It's been a minute, but I'm back up in it, so let's get right to it. 2015 was a big year for hip-hop and all hip-hop artists involved, but the artist that had arguably the biggest year was none other than Kendrick Lamar. Back in March, Kendrick Lamar dropped his second highly anticipated album, To Pimp a Butterfly, which was going to debut at #1, selling over 300,000 copies the first week. But it didn't stop there. The album would also go on to be the universal acclaim, getting a 96 out of 100 on the Metric score, giving it one of the highest, if not the greatest ranking of all time. But it didn't stop there either. The album also got Kendrick Lamar a Grammy high, 11 nominations. 11 nominations, B. I'm talking 10 plus 1 here, people. Keep up with me. Now, the album for me was very special because Kendrick Lamar finally took that step as an artist of finally picking up where Tupac left off and taking that social activist role by trying to use his music to bring us together as a society and as a culture. Now, a wise man once said, great power comes great responsibility. And this responsibility is that Kendrick Lamar, since he took that role as a social activist with his music, like Tupac did, he's got to take the role of leading this generation, leading this youth to the change that we want to see. But now, that could also be a very heavy burden and responsibility for somebody of Kendrick Lamar's status, especially in today's world where it's different leading the youth now than it was 20 years ago when Tupac tried to do it. Nowadays, there's a lot more voices telling you not to do it or voices trying to negatively bring you down. And for a person like Kendrick Lamar, who's also very confused as himself as a person, that could be very hard to handle. And he talked about that recently in an editorial piece he did for XXL. He talked about how he understands that he's being appointed the leader for this generation. And it's a power and responsibility that he fears having because he doesn't want it to go to his head or his ego. Things that Kendrick Lamar tries his best as a person to not have, and that's what causes the confusion in him. He said the responsibility and the power, he's not really sure if he's ready for it or if he even wants it. And hearing that as a hip-hop fan that heard him say that, and because to me, in my mind, he's the artist I do want to lead this culture. I do want him to lead this generation to change because he's the artist that can do it, not only in hip-hop, but also cross over to the mainstream and help bring us together. But if he doesn't want that responsibility, that kind of upset me because I don't know who else could take that role. Like, who else can we have from hip-hop lead this generation and society to change it? But, again, like I said, I understand because there's a lot of responsibility, especially in today's world, to carry that kind of power and responsibility. And he even said himself, like, right now, as a 29-year-old, I still don't know who I am. And so for me to figure out how to change the world, I have to figure out who I am first. And I still have that rage in me that I had when I was 16, 17 years old, and I need to change that. I need to make sure that before I leave this world and this generation, that I'm okay with myself as a person, because if not, that can cause a lot of problems for me. But that did change a little bit when he put an interview out with New York Times 2 days ago. And they asked him, so, I heard you're adjusting to the role of being a role model. He said, yeah, I'm still getting used to it, still trying to adjust to it, but it's something I'm taking on with open arms. When I went to the Compton City Parade a couple of days ago as a city marshal, I saw the look in the kids' eyes when they looked at me and how they admired me and held on to every word I said. And I could just look at them and just think, I was you at one point. And that's what inspires me, the fact that they look up to me the way I looked up to Tupac to lead me for the change. That's how they look at me. They hold on to every single word I say and just want to see my face and what's my next move. And that look they give me lets me know that I need to stop being selfish. That I can't keep being this extrovert that I want to be because this is bigger than me. This is about the change that I want to see and the change that I can make happen. So for me to do that, I got to figure out who I am as a person. But I'm still at odds with that. So I'm still trying to figure out who I am as a person first before I can lead this change. But the look on their face inspires me to aspire. So I like where I'm going. But the New York Times interviewer ended the segment with a very good question. He said, a lot of artists in the past have received this responsibility. Artists that had this power and this ability but decided to not want it and walk away. Artists like Lauryn Hill and Dave Chappelle. Do you ever think about that? And he said, those artists were very good in their craft and what they did. And I do think about that sometimes. And then I don't. So I'll let you know that Kendrick Lamar, he is coming to terms that he is going to be this leader, but it's just him trying to figure out who he is as a person. So that lets me ask you, if not Kendrick Lamar, then who's going to lead us? That's all I'm at. I'm going to leave it on right there in Kansas City. So, what's up, Kansas City? Signing off, Joe Cornejo. But before I go, hey, go Chiefs.